Hi there. So I'd like to ask you something. Who are you when no one's watching? When no one else is around, who do you know yourself to be? May sound like an odd question, but if you think about it, we spend a whole lot of time trying to fit into roles that we have, whether it's at work or in our family or in our social circles or out in public. And then we often forget who we really are. And we also don't even notice if the roles we are playing are even ours anymore. Maybe they once fit, but they don't anymore. So today we're going to explore how you can recognize and release roles that no longer serve you or that you've outgrown. And also how that one act of courage, that one decision to drop a role that's not yours anymore can create more space and clarity and actually energy for growth in 2026 than any resolution ever could. Hi, I'm Leezá Steinorf. I'm an international leadership coach, conflict resolution specialist, and the creator of the Core Success Framework. And before we continue, I want to say thank you to all those that are listening. Your comments and your engagement help more people not only access these tools, but learn from one another so that they can live and also lead with clarity. So I invite you to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you can know when new videos are dropped, and share your thoughts. They're useful to me, and I know they are for others as well. All right, so let's start with a visual maybe. Imagine a backpack. You're going to go hiking somewhere, right? And usually you put in all your gear, but in this backpack that you carry every day are all the roles that you play, right? Son or daughter, parent, manager, colleague, peacemaker, overachiever, people pleaser, helper, class clown, perfectionist, whatever yours might be, right? We all have these titles and labels and roles that we play. So now I want to ask you, which of these roles that are in your backpack are empowering you, like energize you, juice you, and which ones are exhausting? Like which ones would you like to just pull out of the backpack and put them to the side? Think about it. Many of us took on, I'm going to say, identities because they were needed at the time or we grew up that way, right? I know that for myself, I facilitated strategic planning for decades, and moving into being an executive coach and a corporate trainer was a shift for me. It took me a minute, I have to tell you. So maybe you had to, as a child, maybe you had to grow up too fast and take care of siblings and you became the responsible one. Or maybe in your work, you entered in a level and you had to prove yourself in a super high pressure job and now you're the one that always gets it done. So our circumstances help us groom these roles and these identities. Nothing wrong with that. But the question is, are you still carrying some or playing some that don't fit you anymore? And when we get drained, when we notice that we're frustrated, it's what happens when you outgrow the roles, but you keep wearing them or playing them anyway. So here's just a couple things you can notice if the role that you're playing no longer serves you. That maybe you feel resentful instead of feeling pride or accomplishment when you're acting from that place. Or you hide parts of yourself when you're trying to be in that space and play that role. Or you feel stuck. Like there's that when you're being that person, like there's no space for who you're becoming. Or you feel drained when you're living from that role. So recognizing the roles that you have and that you're living from is the first step to actually designing who you want to be in the world. Okay, so I'm going to give you a mini practice. Take a moment, stop the video, take your phone, computer, piece of paper, and write down an exhaustive list of the roles you're expected to play or you know yourself to play. Just write them all down. And then after you've done that, after it's exhausted, then write the ones that you want to choose. The ones that either you want to take on or the ones you really want to keep and grow from. So make those two lists. It's super important. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. Because when you identify the roles, then you can actually start thinking about why are you keeping them? If we just talk about the ones that you're holding on to, why? Do they still serve a purpose? Are they out of obligation? And there's nothing wrong with that. But we're talking about choosing a life and designing a way of being that serves you so that this year is going to be amazing for you. Okay? So, most often when we hold on to a role, it's one of four things. There's a belief that this is just who I am. Like I've always been a perfectionist, or I've always done it that way. That's one. Number two is a fear. If I stop being this person, the reliable one, the responsible one, will people still value me? Okay, that was a big one for me. Number three is guilt. If I say no to this role, am I letting someone down? If I am always the reliable one, the responsible one, the perfectionist, am I taking up slack for somebody else and now they're going to have to do that? And the fourth one is uncertainty, because maybe you just don't know. If I give up that role, if I'm not that person, then who am I? So, and that's where ownership comes in. So, ownership does not mean blame, and it doesn't mean that you are taking on the whole world, being responsible for everyone. It's a choice. You get to choose whether or not you want to own that role, that you want to keep that for yourself. And you don't need somebody else to give you permission to change that. You get to choose that. Okay? So here's a tool that you can use. Call it role release. A role release. So after you've got your list, right? You've got all the roles that you've written down that you have exhausted, and also the ones you'd like to have. Let's go back to the ones that you have already, the first list, and look at the ones that you've outgrown. Like the ones that you can underline, circle them, whatever, highlight them. And then you can say out loud or write down, which I'm a proponent of writing down. If you've listened to me, you know that. And say, I acknowledge that being this has helped me survive, succeed, serve, whatever. It's helped me. And now I release it with gratitude. And I choose to become whatever it is instead. Yeah. So, for example, I acknowledge that being the fixer helped me feel needed. And now I release it and I choose to become a collaborator instead. Or maybe I acknowledge that being the coworker is familiar. And as the manager, I now release that one and I choose to become a leader of my colleagues instead. Okay, so you see how that can morph and it could feel emotional, uncomfortable. That's absolutely okay. Because letting go of something, yeah, it can be challenging. There can be grief or loss, and that's fine. There's also freedom because something new can be birthed. Okay, all right. And now let's look at resolution, turning this into action. So how do you actually shift out of your old roles and into the new ones, the ones that you've designed, that you're choosing for yourself? So there's a couple steps that I'm going to offer. First of all is start small. Just pick one role that you're ready to shift, only one at a time. Let's say it's the perfectionist. What's one way that you can show up with more flexibility, with less perfectionism? Like trying something new that you definitely will not do perfectly the first time, for example. So start with something very small. The next one is to use behavioral cues. So, for example, instead of we're still on the perfectionism, instead of rereading every email 5 times, did I get it right? Did I cover this? Did I do that? Allow yourself to send it after maybe 2 reviews. Or submit something that's good enough and be on time rather than polishing it to death and being late. So reward yourself for progress instead of trying to be perfect. That's the role that you're trying out. Okay. Third one is to speak your shift. Like tell someone, say it out loud. Man, I realized I'm always, let's say, the peacekeeper instead of perfectionist. I'm always the one trying to keep the peace. But I want to actually start being more honest. I want to start taking care of myself and what I need. So it's not only that you've said it to someone else who could possibly hold you accountable, but you actually are taking the strength within yourself to own that new role, and it invites others to meet you in that place. You're giving yourself permission to be that. All right, and the fourth one is to update your narrative. So you're not quitting a role, you are choosing one that fits you better. That's been updated, okay? And you can also update your language for that. For example, I'm not always the one who says yes. Yeah, you own that. Or I'm allowed to evolve, and here I am. Or this is the new version of me, and it has space in the world for joy, alignment, collaboration, whatever it is. Okay? And if you want to do something, if this resonates with you, like if you want to take this on, I'm going to offer you a bonus practice that you write a 2026 identity declaration. Like you really anchor this in yourself. So in 2026, I'm someone who blank and I let go of blank and I embrace blank. So for example, in 2026, I'm someone who tries new things and I let go of being the cautious one and I embrace boldness, for example, right? So you can take whatever role you had and try that on. See how that fits for you. All right, and now I want to talk about living authentically with courage and with grace. What's waiting for you on the other side of letting go? We're talking about personal excellence, and that's not about being perfect and being the best at what other people are expecting from you. It's really about showing up as the fullest version of who you know yourself to be, of who you are becoming, all of yourself and the highest and best of yourself. Here's what redefining yourself looks like. Authenticity. You stop shape shifting to make other people feel comfortable or to gain approval. Yeah. You have more energy. You're not wasting effort trying to maintain those roles that drain you or activities that no longer serve you. And alignment. Your actions actually reflect your values. All right, so I'm going to give you a chance just to think of someone and kind of anchor all of this. If you think of somebody whom you really admire, who you feel is in the world in a really powerful way, so call that person to mind. And then ask yourself, do you feel like they're always playing the part? Like, are they doing the role that's expected to them? Or is that person that you're admiring someone who's unapologetically themselves? I know for myself, when I've thought about the people, the role models that I have, they're without exception people who are willing to stand in who they are and in their values and play and be the roles actually in the world, not play the roles, be the roles in the world that align with who they are. And it takes courage to break out of a role that others maybe expect you to play or want to keep you in because it's been useful to them. But your self-respect and your well-being will thank you for it, and you'll actually be able to support others better when you're standing in a place that feels aligned with who you know yourself to be. You don't need to have a breakdown to justify your change, right? A lot of people have nervous breakdowns or go into burnout, and then they come back and say, well, I have to change this. You don't need to go through that piece. You can come from this place of courage and choice. You need awareness and permission, okay? And you have both of those. You get to give them to yourself. All right. So let's go through and let's summarize what we've looked at today. Okay? You learned how to spot the roles that you've outgrown and ones that you want to grow into in 2026. You have discovered how ownership and resolution tools can help move you into the version of yourself that 2026 is calling you to be, is calling you forward into. And most important, hopefully, you've remembered that excellence, that personal best, comes not from trying harder, efforting more, but really from aligning with your values and aligning from deep within yourself. So as you move into this new year, I'm going to wish for you that you leave behind what no longer fits. You can leave that back in 2025 and really uh, open yourself to what fits you now and to what you choose for yourself. Okay? All right, so if this resonates with you, please drop a comment and tell me specifically what's one role only that you're ready to let go of in 2026. And if you want to share a new one, awesome. I'd love to read about that too. And if you're on a journey of redefining yourself and you want more tools to lead with clarity and presence and courage, then subscribe here because all of these videos, all this content flows together. And share the video with other people that you feel could really benefit. And stay tuned for there's more coming. All right? And remember, you are not allowed to become the person that you want to be this new year. You deserve to be that person. Okay? And I'm here for it. Let's do it together. All right. Take care. Be well.